Salutations, adventurers! Welcome to Roll for Felicity. We're here today playing a game called Justicar, which is a trial-themed tabletop RPG that's GM-less. And what we're doing tonight is the setup for the game. So we'll be coming up with the trial, we'll be coming up with the tone for the case, a lot of other different stuff. We'll be coming up with the witnesses, the defendant, the victim. We kind of decided who was going to be playing which roles pre-stream, but maybe as we go through the setup, it'll change. Maybe people decide they want to do different things. I'm here today with some friends, all of whom have been on stream before, so you might be familiar. But if you're not familiar, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and we'll start off first with my friend Mila. Mila, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hello, I am Mila, also Troll Mila. I am also a streamer here on Twitch, and if you have hung out in this stream for very much at all, I'm also a mod, so you probably have come across me in multiple ways, and I'm really excited for this.
I'm also very excited for this. I'm so excited that I didn't put it in as a command. I just typed players into chat. Instead of my bot command. There we go. Jason, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Hello. I'm Jason. I use he, him pronouns. I play D&D with Taylor, and you can find me on Twitter at Warlock Trash. I mostly tweet. I don't know what I tweet about. I guess D&D sometimes and TTRPGs, but lately, it's just been this movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to plug that. Yeah, that came out today. So, wait, nope, tomorrow? Tomorrow. Go see it. Yeah, go see it.
I do really want to see it, both from the promo material I've seen, and then also just because you liked it so much. It looks really good. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hello, I'm Alex, he, him. Are my pronouns. I'm the brother of Taylor, the not the GM because there is no GM, but
sometimes I am. Not right now.
Yeah, most of the time. The person who owns this Twitch channel. I'm a musician, primarily. Yeah, and that's about it for me. I'm just a musician.
That's it, a lowly musician.
The lowly musician.
And then you also have, I just put the link to your music site in chat, but then you also are on TikTok as comfort_noise and post really cool music and stuff on there. I always like, it always comes up on my For You page, so I'm always like, oh, nice. Cool. Well, that's our introductions. Also, I guess I didn't really introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and as my brother mentioned, I am usually the person who's like running games. This game is GM-less, so I have a little less control directly over what happens, but when does the GM really have control over anything anyway? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that... Oh, yeah, there is actually some major things I didn't mention yet. This game is currently on Kickstarter. And so I do have some incentives for the stream. I think that's the right command. Yes. So this stream, we're going to be doing the setup for the game, which I mentioned. We're going to be deciding all kinds of different things. If you want to have impact on the case as a whole, if you're in chat and you're like, I want to make up some of this stuff, you can. If you tweet at me with a screenshot showing that you backed Justicar for at least $15, which is the PDF. You get a PDF of Justicar with that. You can make up something about the case. It is a little bit going to be up to our discretion because, for one thing, we have some lines and veils and stuff like that. So if you come up with something, it might be something that we've already decided is not something we want to include in the game. And then also there might just be some stuff that we're like, oh, let's tweak it a little bit. But otherwise, go wild. You can come up with a witness for the case. You can depending on how early you get in, you can come up with what the crime is, all sorts of different things. And then that's actually going to be similar to the tip incentive let me see, tip rewards. Or you can tip us $10 to do the same thing. So a style, question, connection, evidence, witness, any other aspect of the game that we're currently creating. So $10 to tip us, or $15 to back the Kickstarter, and then you also get Justicar. So I would say, honestly, $15, a little bit better of a deal. But $10 also cool. The tips go to the guests tonight, so we always appreciate that. And then, as always, if there's something that happens during the stream that you think would be fun to see on Twitter or TikTok or as a clip, you can put ! marker in chat, and that'll make it easier for me to go back and edit the stream later for things that might be fun. That is, I think, everything that I need to say before we actually get started. So, let's get started with the game tonight. I'm trying to redeem the sound alert. There we go. We are gonna get into the game. So where did I put the rules on my screen? Here we go. So the first thing that we're going to do, and you can see we have this just big Miro board. And chat, if there's something on it that you want to see better, let me know, because I'm the one controlling where it is we are. But first we're going to decide on our palette for the game, which is basically what the tone of the game is going to be. And the way that we do this is everyone writes down 2 words on there's actually a place on this Miro board that you should be able to see that has palette, and then there's some purple sticky notes next to it. I don't know if there's enough, but you can also just make sticky notes in Miro. There's a sticky note thing. So everyone can write down 2 words, each one on a separate sticky note. And then as a table, we'll decide on that. So you all can get busy writing things. And I will read this text from the game, which explains what the palette is. There are many ways courtroom and legal stories are represented, from realistic and grounded to cartoonish and gonzo. The first part of play, before even creating characters, is creating the color, texture, and mood of our story. As a table, we'll decide on 4 adjectives to use as key touchstones for the story of our trial. So as it says, you should use adjectives, but also if there's like a movie or, a piece of media that you want to use, or something, that's kind of a noun, that's fine too, as long as it can be interpreted as something to be used. Oops. So I've got 1, and then let me do another sticky note. And I am going to put Phoenix Wright because we keep talking about it. So I've got my 2. So far we've got comedic, western, Phoenix Wright, pun-filled, kitchen, noir. Oh, noir was erased. Okay, noir is back. And then I think we still need 2 more. I think we need 1 more from Mila and 1 more from Alex. And then what we'll do after that is we'll go around the table and discuss what each word means as needed, and then everyone picks 1 word that they didn't submit to keep. The 4 kept words make up the palette and should be kept in mind through all aspects of play. And I might have to put my hair up because it is really making me feel crazy. What does I'll ask. Oh, Alex, you could also put you came up with something. You also had an idea before the stream that you could put on this as one of your palette entries. I forgot to say that, but if you wanted to replace either noir or ridiculous with your pre-stream idea, I think this would be a good place to put it. So we've got comedic, outrageous, noir, western, kitchen, Phoenix Wright, pun-filled, and then the idea that Alex had was that this is a Zoom courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like I get all of these except for Jason. Do you want to tell us more about kitchen?
Yeah, it's just like the genre of a competitive cooking show, and then I couldn't think of a one-word way. There's no word for that except for kitchen, because there's always a kitchen.
I'm
So if the case involves cooking,
yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense. I'm glad I asked because I don't think I would have thought competitive cooking show just based on kitchen, but now that you explained it, I do. I do understand.
That does feel right now that it's been explained. I'm like, yes, of course.
It feels Phoenix right.
Makes sense.
All right. Who wants to? Does anyone have one? One of the ones that they did not submit that they want to select.
I'm
If not,
currently
I can
torn
go.
between Zoom Court, Phoenix Wright, because I definitely want like that vibe, and Kitchen because, because they just all sound so good. I feel like we're inherently going to veer like towards more of like a ridiculous kind of like Phoenix Wright thing. So I feel like I feel safe, maybe not picking that one. But Kitchen and Zoom Court are both so good.
Yeah, I do like both of those.
Yeah, I like the idea of like there's some sort of competitive kitchen cooking show. That's a pretty fun concept.
I also feel like that would just make, I don't know, it also feels very Phoenix, right? Of
It
getting
does
this
feel
case where
very
there's like
Phoenix
a
Wright.
competitive.
There's something about it that is
Yeah.
like. I mean, there is a whole Phoenix Wright case that's like rival movie stars, and one of them gets murdered. So like something like that with like a cooking show gone wrong, a cooking competition.
Oh.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Kitchen. I think I will choose Kitchen.
Okay. I am gonna go with the Zoom Court. I just think that's so fun, so I'm gonna pull Zoom Court over here. And that just leaves Alex and Jason. Do either of you have ones that you want to pick?
I'm gonna go with comedic.
Yeah, then I'm gonna go with noir, just because the other three kind of go together and
Yeah.
it makes wacky stuff, but then noir will balance that
I
out.
do like that. Okay, so these are the. I'm just gonna tell you I'm still gonna make puns, so it's
Yeah,
probably
good.
It's probably fine that one didn't get picked. Because when I was writing it, I was like, "Am I gonna do this anyway?"
Yeah, I think we're gonna do all of these anyway, except for
Yeah.
Western. Yeah.
All right.
One of the
so
one of
I
the
just
coats
realized-
has to be a cowboy now, though. We're just,
Oh yeah.
we'll just bring it all together.
Well, yeah. I mean, the ones that we got, I feel like we actually probably could have just done all of them. Let me actually put these. I put the ones we didn't pick off to the side, but I put them right under the word palette, so it seemed like the opposite of what I was trying to do. Okay, so our palette is a comedic noir that is going to have something to do with a kitchen competitive cooking show. And then it is going to be Zoom Court. So some of the acting will be a little bit easier because we don't have to pretend we're anywhere other than just where we are, which is on Zoom. Great. Okay, what's the next thing we do? Next, it's time to start creating the case. My husband just came home. That's not why it's time to start creating the case.
Mike entering is why we have to create the
and
case.
now Mike came home, so now we get to start the case. Okay, mapping the case. Okay, first we determine the alleged crime. Determine what happened here and what type of case this is. Discuss this together to come up with something fit for TV that's intriguing with plenty of room for twists. Was it a hacking attempt gone wrong, an attempted assassination, a whole bank robbery, or crime ring? Additionally, what's the bigger picture at play here? Is someone trying to gain power? Is there a secret crime war going on in the background? Or is there a play being made to remove someone from influence? Does anyone have... We've kind of talked about what the crime might be. But does anyone have ideas of what the crime could be?
I feel my initial instinct is a crime and like a murder with like a weird kitchen utensil.
Ooh. I do like that. Wow.
Like one
like
that doesn't
that.
make sense, but somehow a wooden spoon.
Yeah. Do we want to go with the route of rival competitive cooking chefs, or like a chef and a judge? Like, do we want it to be centered around some sort of competitive cooking show?
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I think that makes coming up with witnesses pretty easy as well. Because there's a lot of different people who would be on the set of a show like that, and like would have the chance to see a lot of things. So I think I like that. Okay, let me put a post-it note. Let's see what color. I'll do orange. Orange for the crime. Do we want it to be murder?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's the spiciest option.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could brainstorm other things, but I think we would end up at murder.
Yeah.
I also enjoy murder as a plot point, not in general. My sentence
Right.
continued. But I enjoy it because the victim can't communicate.
Yeah.
And I usually enjoy that, where you're not getting that kind of like mixed conversation from the victim.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so someone was murdered on the set of a competitive cooking show. Mila, I know you said like kind of an unconventional weapon of choice. I think we can decide that more specifically when we get to the evidence section. So I'm not ignoring that. It's just, I think we can flesh that out when we get to that part. Are other things about the crime? One of the things that suggests is like, what's the bigger picture at play? Is someone trying to gain power? Do we want to try to think about that now, or do we think that, but that could be something that might come out as we establish other things?
Yeah, I don't have any ideas right off the top of my head for that. So.
Cool. Oh, I also have totally not been seeing chat. Hello. Hello, Sierra. I didn't say hello to you. Hello, Sleep Child. Sleep Child likes your beard, Alex.
Oh, thank you.
He says it's impeccable.
Impeccable.
I also appreciate the way that the stream is split up. Is there's 2 people with blue in their hair and then 2 people with brown hair.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. I was like, let me figure out. Okay, so we determine the alleged crime. We do have the epiphany clocks. I already made those. They're kind of off to the side. If you want to move yours at any point, you do have to highlight the whole thing, because they are separate. They are separate pieces. So I think we can skip past that for now, because we'll explain more about the epiphany clocks when we get to our the roles that we're playing. All right, so next we have the defendant and the victim. The most likely subject and the person who is wronged. The defendant doesn't always really do the crime, just as the victim could be completely lying or paid off. Instead of deciding on the truth right off the bat, leave it open to be revealed through play. Think of these as the constant starting points in the web of string, tape, and pushpins you build through play. So who do we think? We know the crime was committed because of this cooking show or at this cooking show. Do we know who the victim is? We talked about it being one of the competitors. I think I also mentioned it potentially being like a judge for the cooking show. It could be the host. There's usually like a host as well. trying to think of
Yeah,
who
I
else.
like the idea of host or judge because usually I guess they're more of like a celebrity. They're like a name already, which would mean like if this was a real case, then people would be really invested if the victim was
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
yeah,
And also more potential, a lot of potential reasons why someone could want to kill them. Like if it's the competitor, it's like, well, it was probably the other competitor that did it, and like obviously there could be other people, but like that's a likely choice. Whereas it's the host or the judge. I kind of like the idea of it being the host of the show because I feel like there's this thing with competition shows where sometimes I'll be watching a competition show and I'll be like, the host of the show has the least charisma of anyone I've ever seen in my life. How did they get this job? How are they the job of the host, which is just having charisma? So I like the idea that it's like one of those like kind of uncharismatic hosts of shows. But I think a judge would also be a lot of fun.
Not inspired by anything, but I was also thinking that I feel like it would also make sense if like this judge was maybe a celebrity chef and again, just making things up here, was really mean to people and had some really good pun insults.
That is very good.
yeah, that is.
Yeah, not inspired by anyone in particular.
Yeah, any semblance to any celebrities is purely coincidental. Although, you know, there actually are a lot of mean chefs, so
there's so many.
So not that specific.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I do like the mean chef maybe being the victim.
Because I feel like that would also be like another like level of like a reason to
want to kill them.
You know,
maybe the uncharismatic host could be one of the witnesses, and then I could play someone with 0 charisma if I'm the stand. Alex, what do you think? You like the mean judge idea?
Yeah, I do. I think that's pretty solid.
Okay, so let's say the actually mean judge. Do we have an idea of name or pronouns for this judge?
Gordon
actually,
Gansky.
Sorry, go
Jordan.
ahead. What is
Gordon Gamsey.
You're getting so much more specific. What? Okay,
What do you mean?
I have a counter offer.
Those are real names.
It's still related to that totally random name that you chose. But what if his name is Beef Wellington?
Yes, that is perfect.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah.
And beef is
Much
obviously
better
a
than
nickname
my-
for something, but
I love that. That's perfect.
mean judge Beef Wellington. Are we thinking he, him pronouns for the mean judge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other aspects, I think this also applies to defendant and victim because it applies to all the other characters. Is there's different aspects of each character. So one of the aspects we already did, which is name and pronouns. There's also the style of the person, the expertise of the person. Oh, you know what? Let's just pick a style because expertise and key are both specific to people who are alive. Because your expertise is like something that you're good at and your key is something, your unique connection to the case. So I think the unique connection to the case is that this person is the victim. But I do kind of still want to come up with a style for the victim. What do you think his style, like what did he look like or like his vibe? I feel like I already know, but
Yeah, British.
okay.
I think we're we're entering a slippery slope here. It's just
because you know what? There are actually multiple mean British judges.
Yeah. If his last name's Wellington, I think he has to be British.
Yeah,
he can have
fair.
other styles besides that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mean British judge for cooking competent. Beef Wellington, he him. Okay. I feel like we got a good victim here so far. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Next we need to come up with the defendant. So this isn't necessarily the person who did commit the crime, it's just the person who's on trial for the crime. So who do we think is the defendant in this case? It could be a contestant, could be another judge, could be someone in the crew of the show, it could be, a deranged fan.
Oh, what if it's like because cooking shows sometimes will have like an ordinary people that like at a restaurant or something, and the contestants cook for those people.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking of one in particular, but
I'm thinking of one show in particular with a mean British judge that they specifically do this. This is like when I did that political one shot, and Rachel was on stream, and one of the people was Mitch McConnell, was like we had mentioned, and then she said something about like something violent toward Mitch McConnell, and I was like, we have to. And it made sense of what was going on, but I was like, this is a fictional Mitch McConnell.
Twitch, please. FBI,
Twitch,
please. This is all
playing
fake.
a game. This is an alternate reality Mitch McConnell. Anyway, so you think it's maybe somebody, just a regular person who was like at the restaurant?
I only suggest it because I feel like it's not obvious. It's kind of weird, like that, I don't know why this person would want to kill just the host of this show that they're on. But
yeah,
suggestion.
Yeah, I think for the defendant it should be like an obvious choice, and then like if we want the defendant to be innocent, then the true culprit being just a random guy. Would make a lot of sense.
Could be one of the witnesses, because this is one of the things that it says in the game, and is like a thing in these genres of stories anyway, where it's like any person in this courtroom could be the true culprit. Even the judge could secretly be the murder, or one of the lawyers or something like that could be involved somehow. I feel like if we're going for obvious, it should be a disgruntled former contestant, if we want to go for like an obvious choice for defendant.
Yeah.
Everyone's nodding.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Defendant. This is where we see if I can spell. Okay, the defendant for the case, disgruntled former contestant. And do we have name, pronouns, or style for this disgruntled former contestant?
I was thinking perhaps Western, like a cowboy, like a modern day cowboy. And then like I like the food names thing because I feel like that's very like Phoenix, right? And so if anyone has anything like better, but I was thinking like Basil Clementine or something like really food related.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I just saw in the chat, Sleep Child said their favorite contestant was eliminated with the motive.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, that is good.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Can we say that Basil's nickname is Clem, though?
Yes!
I like that a lot. That's a good cowboy thing.
Exactly, it feels like a perfect cowboy name.
Cool. Did you have pronouns in mind for Basil Clementine?
Maybe they, them. Have a non-binary cowboy. Or a cow, them. Please no one call me a cow, them.
Oh, man.
I know I said it, but I really don't like it.
You're not a cow, them, so...
No.
No one would call you that.
I'm an urban them.
I'm an urban them. The two genders, cow them and urban them. Cool. And I feel like that kind of gets the style too. They're cowboy. Cow them. So that's that gets into the style as well. All right. That's our defendant and victim. The next, we choose our roles, and then we create characters and witnesses. We kind of decided a little bit on what roles we wanted to do. Is everyone still vibe? Well, and actually, Alex and Jason, you kind of have two to choose between, if we stick with that. But we had talked before about Mila, fueled by their anger with the judge, and Phoenix Wright taking on the judge's mantle. And then I could play the stand, and then that would lead the defense attorney and the prosecuting attorney for Jason and Alex. Are we still feeling that, or does anyone feel differently?
I'm good with that.
Jason or Alex, are either of you leaning towards... now that we know the victim and the defendant, does anyone want... do either of you know whose side you would rather be on? Do you want to be defending Clem, or do you want to be prosecuting on behalf of Beef Wellington? I should put Chef Beef Wellington.
I'm
okay with either one. I'll let...
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like... yeah, either one I feel like is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, I was kind of before stream thinking about defendant, so if that's all right with you.
Yep.
So yeah, you're the attorney defending this disgruntled former contestant, Basil Clementine. Excuse me. So we will each, for our character, except for me, come up with all these different aspects for our characters, which you can all start doing if you want to take a sticky note. And if you want to think of like names and pronoun or style or whatever for your character, we can do that. And while you're deciding on some of those things, I will mention some of the things that we haven't gotten into so far, which is each character also has an expertise and a key. Your expertise is something that you are better at than anyone else in the courtroom. That's your expertise. It's something that you can pull on to establish facts, no matter how realistic, about something in the case. It can even be used to rebut a statement made offhand and to press further in a direction of questioning. Are you good with cars or guns? Do you know everything about perfumes and fashion? Or are you extremely good at detecting lies? Those are all things that your character could be an expert at. And there are some examples with each of the different roles in court. Have example tilts, example names, styles, expertises, keys, etc. So if you want... if you're struggling to think of things, you can look at those examples. And then keys. Your key is your unique connection to the case. This is something that can be used by anyone to unlock new avenues of discovery during the case and may or may not be a secret that only you know. When you create your key, note down whether or not it's a secret. Secret keys can only be revealed by the player controlling the character they belong to unless a piece of evidence is used. So if you do want your key to be a secret, don't put that on the Miro board. Just have it somewhere so that you can see it and remember it. But if the key is not secret, then you can put it on the Miro board. These keys, some of the examples are: did you see someone leave the scene of the crime? Do you work where the murder weapon was sold? Did you previously defend someone connected to a suspect or help them get their business license? Do you happen to buy illicit substances from the suspect? Are you sleeping with the head of the crime syndicate being investigated? So something that has you more connected to the case than at first it may seem. Let me look at the stand we'll have to do as well, which is all the witnesses and stuff like that. And also responsible for playing the defendant when relevant. So if I'm playing the stand, then I will also be responsible for playing Clem. I'm gonna zoom out. Does anybody have ideas for what they want their specific character to be? We could also do the witnesses and stuff first, because we do that all together. So if you need more time to think about your character or want to know what the witnesses and stuff are, we could do that first.
And we're putting our character bio and everything on in the Miro.
Yes. So you'll do a sticky note with your name, pronouns, style, expertise, and if you have a secret key, you won't put that on the Miro board, but if you have a public key, then you can put that on there as well. And then at the end, when we're wrapping up doing the setup, we'll do connections. So we'll have like little lines going from character to character and stuff like that. So you'll want to have your character on there.
Does it matter what color sticky note I use for?
No, not really. I was doing them a little bit color coded, but only because it was easy. And as it goes on, it'll become less and less easy because there'll be more sticky notes. So you can use whatever.
I'm trying to decide if I want to really play up and like I kind of want to be like the judge from Phoenix Wright, because I just find it so funny and stupid and like sarcastic. Or do I want to be like the complete like opposite and be like, this is how it's done, judge, even though you're a fictional character?
Yeah. That get your secret motivation. The reason why you became a judge in the fiction of the game is because you played the Phoenix Wright games and were astonished at how incompetent that judge is. That's especially, I do like that as a motivation, because one of the things with the game that we haven't gotten into is that there's tilts. So all of us give the judge a secret thing that like makes them very biased or like gives them a blind spot. So I do like the idea that you're like, I'm not like this other judge, but then you have these things that do make you like kind of incompetent in some ways. I'm just reading through some of the stuff for the stand so that I know what we're doing for that. And then for the judge, we do the tilts. And I think for the prosecution and defense, I don't think you have anything from other players. I think just the judge and the stand do. Yeah, I think just the judge and the stand do. The prosecution and defense, you get to kind of just do your you get to do your own thing. You don't have to have secret things from other players that influence you. Oh, I see. Oh, I just see Greg.
I'm just brainstorming here. It's my...
I just zoomed way out, and it's like it was like Jason's and Mila's were both a lot smaller, so I just see Greg. Mila, do you want to talk about your character? It looks like you have some stuff written down.
Yeah. I'm gonna do Judge Eustatia, she, her, and yeah, I decided with like straight laced by the book, and then I feel like good at detecting lies would just like make sense as a judge of like, you know, you've been over so many presided over so many court cases that you'd probably be like, okay, like I know you're lying.
Yeah.
And then I have a secret key that's really not a big deal, but it feels very Phoenix, right? So
I like that.
Yeah.
I just switched us over to the bigger view of the Miro board so that chat can see everything a little bit better. Cool. I like that. I like you have a secret key, and then there's also like secret tilts. So just a very secretive judge.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Jason, I already see your character's name, and I'm a big fan. Do you?
I'm thinking of changing that and the pronouns, because if Alex's name is Sam Ham, what if
I did not see Alex's name.
Can we be brother and
Oh,
sister? Good. And then my character's name would be Virginia Ham, and
yes.
the pronouns would be she, her. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're brother and sister. I'm a prosecutor. You're a defense lawyer.
Oh, there has
if that
to
works
be...
for you.
This is so good.
I can't. Virginia Ham. Oh my god. Style vindictive, older sibling or older sister vibes. As an older sister. I guess I am vindictive sometimes. Cool. Are you still thinking of a key, or do you have a secret key? I cannot get over Sam Ham.
Sam Ham is so good. Virginia Ham.
The Ham siblings. Are you? Oh, I guess you said older sisters, so you're not twins. You're just siblings.
Yeah, I think like I have this whole thing about like how everything came so easy to Sam, and like I went to law school first, and as soon as I did, he like followed me and copied me, and for some reason our parents hyped him up more about it, but they also like made me go to law school, but it was like a whole thing. I think my key will just be that like when I was in law school, like to pay for it, I used to work in a restaurant that Beef Wellington owned, and his toughness and vindictiveness influenced how I practice law.
I like that. What about Sam Ham? Style boring. The style also is like clothing wear too, so it's like your personality also like kind of clothing stuff too. So if you have clothing or like, you know, physical style things you want to put in, you can as well. But yeah, let's hear from Sam Ham. Sleepchild has requested that whoever is the defense attorney do a Sonic voice.
Oh man.
You don't have to do that. To be clear, you don't have to do that, but it is.
It has been requested.
It's been requested. I think just because that's what I do for Phoenix when I play Phoenix, right? I just do kind of a Sonic-ish voice.
I see. I mean, I'm not great at voices, so it might be pretty cringe, but I could try.
If Sam Ham's kind of boring and lackadaisical,
I could change that up just to fit it, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go with what I have now, and not do a voice.
I do love the idea of him being boring and lackadaisical while also having a Sonic voice. Like, just so absurd and, like, just such a boring human being, and then just talks
Just
so
being like,
ridiculously.
"Your Honor."
People don't realize how boring you are until later because they're just so caught up in the voice.
Do you have an expertise or key in mind for Sam Ham, or do you want to come back to that? Do you want some time to think about it?
I haven't thought of anything yet, so let's just come back to that.
Cool. Well, that means that we need to come up with the witnesses. So the way that we'll do the witnesses is that each of you will, and you should do these on different Post-it notes. You will each come up with a name and pronoun set. Let me scroll up. Name and pronouns, style, expertise, and key. But I will mix and match them. So you'll each come up with one of those things, but it's not all for the same person. I mean, obviously, if you get going down a certain road and they all seem connected, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to mix them up anyway. But yeah, and then that'll be our witnesses.
What are the things that we need?
Name and pronouns. Style, which is a pairing of aesthetic and personality traits. Expertise, which is what are you better at than anyone else in the courtroom. And key, which is your unique connection to the case. For the witnesses, they should probably be like pretty directly related. So like saw something in Video Village that they weren't supposed to see of, like, you know, something during the crime, or you know, found the murder weapon, blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff, since they'll be on trial. And while you all are doing that, actually, I'll read some of the examples. I think that'll be helpful. Witnesses also have a job. So I think you also come up with that.
Do I make more Post-its?
There's a little thing on the left-hand side that has like a little folded sticky note.
Gotcha.
You can click that. Or I think if you just type N, it's the shortcut, maybe? I don't know. It says N next to it, so I don't know. Yeah, so you'll have to do a job as well. Job can be related to expertise, but doesn't need to be. So, like, if their job is that they're, you know, camera crew, their expertise doesn't have to be cameras. It can be something else that they happen to be good at. Some of the examples, some example styles are fashionista, better than you, internet tough guy, an actual real life badass. Those are different style examples. Jobs, the first one is assassin, janitor, small business owner, vlogger. Expertise is fabrics and scents, weapons and violence, cameras and film. And then some example keys are saw the suspect leaving the scene, works where the weapon was sold, used to run with the suspect's crew, is in an affair with someone here, is a pickpocket, or is being blackmailed. So those are just examples, but yeah.
And we're supposed to do one each?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I will mix and match whatever you come up with. Like, I just, every once in a while I look at the chat and I just see bolo ties are awesome.
My husband and I agree. Bolo ties are awesome.
Bolo ties are awesome.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, also, while they're working, I'll mention chat. I did add another channel points redemption, which is a familiar sound alert. So if at any point you want to play that sound, you can. I do like that Linguini still made it in here. Or no, it was Alfredo before, right? Was it Alfredo?
Alfred Linguini?
Albert. It was
Fredo
Albert.
Linguini just is
Alfredo.
from Ratatouille. The name I was going with earlier was Aiden Linguini.
Aiden. Okay.
Okay.
I think Aiden's like kind of like an over-the-top boy name that's good for a cartoonish lawyer. No offense to any Aidens in the chat.
The first Aiden I ever met in my life, which has really colored my perception of the name, was an Amish man. So when it became like a
Extremely
trendy
cool.
name, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I thought this was an Amish name. Like Sleep Child immediately is like, I'm gonna use this sound effect.
It's a good sound.
It is a good sound. Every time I see Sam Ham, I feel Alex is very good at just coming up with very like effective, great names. Because also his name in our D&D game is Jeff Goldblum, but it's just spelled differently.
Yoth Goldblum.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly it, with 2
I love
O's.
it.
It's so funny that it's like something dramatic will be happening, and then it's like, oh yes, and this gnome named Jeff Goldblum is there.
It's even better. That's a gnome.
Yeah.
That was key information.
Yeah. A gnome sorcerer. Sleep Child is just talking about Amish names.
I have had such, like, I don't even know if I've ever even interacted. Like, Mennonite people, like, I met, but Amish, no. I've never interacted with an Amish person, so fun fact about me personally.
They do tend to keep to themselves. Oh, I didn't even
Well, I
scroll up. Okay,
don't-
here we go.
I think there's, like, communities near where I live, but I think they would go to a different, like, community to shop than mine, because they're further away, so.
That makes sense. I like these names.
There's a lot of Amish where, like, kind of near where I'm from. They're all very nice. If there's any Amish people in the chat,
There could be.
I don't think you're supposed to be here, but we welcome you anyway.
You're not.
They're
supposed to
on
be
their
here, but we accept
Gallivant, or...
you. Yeah. Rumspringa.
Okay, I couldn't remember the words, so decided to go with Dimension 20
Yes.
instead. Yeah, same thing.
I was explaining that to Mike the other day, and I couldn't remember the word they used in Dimension 20. I can remember Gallivant. And so I was like, they're like on Rumspringa. It's the same kind of thing.
So just we switched it up.
Okay, let's see. I think I have everything from Mila. I think I have everything from Jason. Alex is still working on it, so I'm gonna bring Jason's up here so I can mix and match them. Make them kind of the same size. I like the... Oh, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna take some of Alex's too, the ones he finished. Okay, so we've got the names Jessica Linguini, Sage Shepherd, or Sage Seppard. Is it supposed to be Seppard or is it supposed to be Shepherd? Frida.
Oh, shepherd, like shepherd's pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think this is just a typo. Frida Eclair, that's very good. And then for jobs, I've got show host. I'm glad someone put show host because I really wanted this show host to be one. Oh, that was you, Jason. Thank you. Job camera person. Alex has key grip as the job. And then for style, we've got computer slacker. Talking rat with a chef's hat. Good.
timing.
Very good timing. Alex, did you do a style? I can't.
That should be her style.
Okay. And then well put together and straight laced is another style. I'm really upset that I can't mix put together with talking rat with the chef's hat, since they're both styles. Okay, and then expertise. We've got old timey cameras. We've got baking edibles. Yes, baking edibles. And then Alex, I think, is still working on an expertise. And then for keys, we've got Beef Wellington's boyhood chum and a key of hacked into the producer's phone. So then as soon as we get the expertise and key, I can really mix and match these. But let's see, Jessica Linguini. I can at least put these. Oh god. These are very good. Frida E. Claire. Which one of these do I want to be a talking rat with a chef's hat? I feel like that's what I have to decide first. Which I do think is Frida E. Claire. Because it sounds like whenever you have a middle initial, it sounds so much like a pseudonym. So I think it definitely has to be like this rat is like really, really pretending to be a person. And their name is Frida E. Claire. So then let me see, Jessica Linguini. What style do I want for Jessica Linguini? I can do computer slacker, or I do like computer slacker for Jessica Linguini. And then, so that means Sage Shepherd is put together and straight-laced. Oh! We lost Alex.
Oh no.
hang on, stream. It looks crazy for a second. Actually, let me, I'm gonna go to the break screen for a second, just so I can see if Alex texted me or if their internet went out or something like that. So I'm gonna go to the break screen, and then we'll be right back with everyone on stream. Felicitations, everyone, we're back. We're all back on the Zoom call, we're good to go. And we also got, are back with making our witnesses, and I think I have everything I need to mix and match now. Or are you still working on the key, Alex, or is it finished? I can't. Oh yes. No, it's not.
Yeah. Just need to type it out.
Okay. But I do have. We have Frida E. Claire, who is a talking rat with a chef's hat. It is on the nose, but I am gonna have her expertise be baking edibles. Because her name is Frida E. Claire. I just feel like that has to be the case. And then, let's see, Jessica Linguini. What should her expertise be? Her expertise could either be old-timey cameras or to know a lot about animals. I think I am going to have her know a lot about animals. If we don't hear about a relative called Taylor Ham, I don't know what I'll do with myself. Maybe I'm the relative. Maybe it's me. Okay, so Jessica Linguini knows a lot about animals. So that leaves Sage Shepherd's expertise to be old-timey cameras. I don't know what I just clicked. Okay. So then they each have to have a job and a key. And one of the jobs is key grip. Okay, so which of these... Frida E. Claire, I don't think can be the show host. I think if I wanted to go with my idea of having a show host with no charisma, I don't think Frida E. Claire can be the show host. I think Frida E. Claire has a lot of charisma. Also, oh gosh, Jessica Linguini as show host is very fun, but also Sage Shepherd is very well put together and straight-laced and has kind of an unexpected expertise. So I think Sage is going to be the show host. And that leaves Frida E. Claire can either be key grip or camera person. I'm gonna have Frida be the key grip with maybe maybe everyone is just like, we don't really know what Frida does. And she just calls herself the key grip, which means Jessica Linguini is the camera person. I do think it makes sense for Sage, not Shave, to be Beef Wellington's boyhood chum. Maybe that's how they got the job. Both of these other keys are so good. It's either a rat who hacked into a producer's phone or a rat who overheard the defendant expressing their contempt for the beef. Which are both.
I'd say the beef.
That's
beef.
What you wrote it, yeah.
That is 100% his nickname. That's what everyone calls him. And he starts off on the show and he's like, "You're here with the beef."
He did. He used to. He's now dead.
Alright.
Yes, someone
Dead
beat
beef.
the beef.
Oh no, he
the
beefed
mallet.
it.
He beefed it.
Oh, Alex, I think is frozen again. Something's going on with Alex's Zoom because I don't think he's still just laughing. For me, he's frozen laughing.
Yeah.
Just frozen laughing.
Okay. Oh, you got rid of the.
No.
Put the back.
No, he has to be the beef.
It has to be the beef.
He has to be. It brought me so much joy.
The beef.
The beef.
There we go. Okay. Gosh, I think Jessica Linguini dresses as a computer slacker. Is it funnier? I think it's funnier if Jessica Linguini doesn't know how to hack and that the rat is the one who hacked the phone. So that means Jessica Linguini overheard the defendant expressing their contempt for the beef. Cool. So those are our witnesses. Yes. For a second I was like, wait, was I supposed to do that too? No, I was not. Accept the stand. Right son, a name, style, job, expertise, and key. I mix and match to create the witnesses. All right, and then I'm also responsible for playing the defendant. So that gives me 4 characters that I'm playing. That means we can skip down to the judge, which you've defined your aspects, I believe. You've got your name and pronouns, your style, your expertise, and your secret key. So that means that the other 3 of us get to let you know what your secret tilt is, which means that you are a biased judge in some way. There's something going on with you that only the judge and the person who gives them their tilt knows. So we'll either send that to you through Zoom as a direct message or Discord. Which means I need to get thinking. One of the example tilts is you're very hungry. These are different example tilts. One is you're very hungry, you'd rather be anywhere else, you have an intense dislike of the prosecution or defense, or you don't know anything about a key facet of the case.
This all sounds like the judge from Phoenix, right? So.
Yeah. When I started reading them, I was like, you're hungry, you'd rather be anywhere else. This is a big single.
And you don't know about a key facet of the case.
Yeah, that's true. That reminds me of when I was a kid. I made up the word andicated, and we were at a store, and I was just like, Mom, I'm andicated. And she was like, what are you saying? And I was like, andicated. It means I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I want to go home. Which is just a useful word to have.
That's pretty
I'm
good.
gonna remember that one.
Yeah.
I'm writing that
I'm
down.
andicated. I do feel that way a lot of the time. What is a tilt? Okay, Mila, I'm gonna message you it in the Zoom chat, I think.
Okay.
But I have to think of what it is. Okay, I got one. And then Mila, just let us know when you have 3 tilts.
Okay.
And then I think the next thing that we do is evidence. And while we're doing that, this is a good time to remind chat that if you, actually also it's a good time for me to check Twitter to see if anybody did this. If you back the Kickstarter at the $15 level, which is you get a PDF of the game when it comes out, you can submit something to be used in the case. So we're about to do evidence. So if you want to come up with a piece of evidence that we'll use in the case, if you just back the Justicar Kickstarter at $15 or higher and then tweet a screenshot at me, you can do that. You can also tip $10 or I think it's 1,000 bits. But either of those ways, you could introduce a piece of evidence or a connection, I think are the last couple things that we have that you could do. And I didn't actually check Twitter. I almost just said what my tilt is, which is not what I'm supposed to do.
Sorry.
Are you laughing at the tilt that you submitted, or are you just thinking about something else?
No, I'm laughing about the tilt.
I think I'll maybe do combine these into one note. While you're doing that. Oh wait, can I put sticky notes on sticky notes? That would be easier to do. No.
Wikieception.
I think I can connect them. Maybe not.
These are very good so far, by the way.
Now, what if we submit a tilt that conflicts with another tilt?
I guess Mila could let us know, but it also could just be conflicting. I feel like it would be.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if we came up because it just be so. It could be anything in the world. Do these already conflict?
No, not no. But are also just like weirdly specific. So if you did come up with one that contradicted, I would be extremely shocked and also extremely impressed.
I want to know what Jason's is. Oh no.
Yeah, no, they don't conflict remotely.
Cool.
I do have them all now.
Cool. And then also, like, it's metagaming is not, like, part of this game is a little bit metagaming and knowing, like, what the rules and things are. So, if you did put a very specific tilt, it's fine if your character brings up that tilt a lot. Or, like, does something to make that tilt come up. That's
Good.
fine, and in fact, I'm definitely going to be doing it if encouraged. Okay.
Yeah. I will be very clear about some of these.
Okay, cool. So the next thing that we have is, the evidence. So we should all together come up with 8 pieces of evidence that the prosecution and defense can use to form their cases. After creating the evidence, prosecution and defense take turns picking a piece of evidence to submit as their own, with defense picking first. All pieces of evidence should be built as an object with a loosely described relevance. all piece of evidence should have some kind of flaw or opening for the opposing team to take advantage of. The bigger the evidence, the bigger this flaw or complication should be. The further details are determined by the player who presents it, which would mean prosecution or defense attorney. So this is something we all do together. What color do I have? I think I did pick a color for evidence. Where is it on this board?
That's
there it is.
blue and gold, or blue and yellow over here.
Cool. I do think that one of the pieces of evidence should be, just because this is easy to think of, what's it called? Why can I not think of this word? The death stuff. The death certificate. All of the stuff that the mortician puts together. What is that word?
The autopsy?
Autopsy report. Yes.
Yeah.
Should be the autopsy report, and the flaw is that it's not the most recent autopsy report. Because that's the classic Phoenix Wright. Halfway through the case, Edgeworth is like, oh, there's a more recent autopsy report. So unless anyone doesn't want me to do that, I think that would be a fun piece of evidence.
So we would just pick up a note and write something down.
Yeah, and we can collaborate on these. It's not we're making 8 total. And so we can kind of collaborate on what the piece of evidence is and what the flaw is. So, if someone comes up with a piece of evidence, another person could be like, oh, I think this is the flaw, or everyone could do both, but we should all jointly agree on them. Mila, you had mentioned a funny murder weapon before.
Yes.
Did you have in mind what you wanted that to be? You said you said a wooden spoon earlier.
Yeah, a Danish dough whisk.
Oh. Okay.
Wait.
That is good.
Oh, I think I know what that is.
Yeah. I have one, so I could use it as I have one as a gift from Melanie, so I could just bring it on screen.
Going way back to the magical year of Teenage Witch.
Yeah. I like it being a Danish dough whisk. It is a very distinctive and silly weapon. What do we think the flaw is? And while you're thinking about the flaw, I'll get my dough whisk so I can show it. And then everyone gets a little peek of Mike playing Elden Ring behind me. This is my Danish dough whisk.
Cool.
Murder weapon.
Such a fancy murder weapon.
Yeah. What is the flaw of the dough whisk?
How about one flaw is it's not dishwasher friendly, but then the real flaw is that it was accidentally put through the dishwasher, which removed all like fingerprints and stuff, but also messed up the dough whisk so that it can't be used as a dough whisk anymore.
That's really
so it's like
funny.
flawed in 2 senses. Like
I love the idea of
I like
someone
this.
being like, this is the murder weapon. It has been put through the dishwasher, so there's nothing attached to it that proves that it is.
Okay, and so we need 8. So it looks like we have 3 so far.
Yeah. I'll put this one up here. What else could we do? Maybe, I mean, this is a TV show. I think some video footage of the murder, maybe? And then it could have a really significant flaw.
Maybe it was like the confessional like camera, and so it only picked up like audio or something.
Ooh, yes. So I'll put video in quotes then. From the
For mine, I'm thinking like a mousetrap that's found in Frida Eclair's locker, which could kind of indicate that either the killer is actually after more than just the one person on set, or it could like indicate that Frida thought that Beef Wellington put it there and she might have killed him in self-defense or something. But yeah, a mousetrap.
I like that.
And the flaw is going to be that it was baited with cheese, but everybody knows that Frida is lactose intolerant.
That's very good. And then yeah, Alex, I think this was Alex who put this. Footprints and spilt flour. The flaw is the contestants were all issued standard kitchen shoes. So the contestants, if that's the footprints, then it wouldn't narrow anything down. So I think we need 3 more. So we've got these 4 plus the mousetrap. Autopsy report, video footage, murder weapon, footprints. Mousetrap. The only rat / mouse is known to be lactose intolerant. I'm trying to think of things like really specific to like cooking. Oh, we could have something like cow. I'm gonna keep saying cow them. Something cow them related. Maybe like a lasso or something, or like maybe like maybe spurs or something found like near the body or something. I don't know, something cowboy related.
I like the idea of like spur like imprints on something. Or maybe there was like a piece of the beef's clothes got stuck on the spur.
That is good.
Yeah, I like that. So the evidence is piece of fabric stuck to a spur from the beef's chef's coat. Maybe the flaw could be that the coat that Beef Wellington was wearing when he was found isn't missing any fabric. Flaw. The coat the victim was wearing when found isn't missing any fabric. Okay.
I was also thinking potentially the the beef had his phone on him, but it was like bricked, so you can't like access it, or like too many like attempts to get in, and so you can't access it.
Oh, yeah. Wellington's. So just Beef Wellington's phone. Flaw. I like the locked out thing, because then usually there's like a time associated with it, so that would be a fun thing to like at some point during the case. It could be like the timer, like, you know, we can get into the phone.
But then we would still have to guess the password, which could be a fun thing.
Yeah.
To have to do.
From too many sign in attempts. I like that. Okay, so I think we just need one more.
I was thinking, at first I was thinking Beef Wellington's like journal or diary, but then I was thinking it'd be a recipe book that's also his journal, like how when like food blogs, when they post recipes, have these long personal intro stories. He could have like a journal / recipe book that we find.
I like that. Cool. Oh wait, now we have too many because somebody wrote half-eaten piece of pie. Flawed. It's expired.
I literally couldn't think of anything, so I just put something out. So.
Do you want to go with the half-eaten piece of pie, or do you want to go with the recipe book?
I like the recipe book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the flaw is that it's just written so Britishly, like we're having a real hard time deciphering it.
Written so
You just can't
British.
translate it.
It's too bad nobody has an expertise of understanding Britishisms.
Should have known it would be needed one day. Could have gone to law school in England, but no.
Okay, so then we have 8 pieces of evidence. So now, starting with the defense attorney, you get to pick which piece of evidence you're going to submit during the case, which means that you have a little more leeway about like things about it. So, you know, like the footprints, we don't really have that much defined about like where the footprints were found, stuff like that. So you can, you know, define a little bit more about them. And it starts with Sam Hamm is the defense attorney, right? Yeah. So yeah. Alex, you get to pick a piece of evidence first.
Okay. Is there any that you guys think that might work for a defense attorney? Or I mean,
well, I developed them, or developed is such a strong word for just writing something on a sticky note. The mousetrap I made specifically to like use as evidence to point at like another witness as a potential suspect.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. So that'd be good for the defense attorney.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
The other thing too, maybe should we do this now or should we do this after? There is also a thing, for each piece of evidence and every witness, you should play out or describe a small scene where you gather, find, secure the piece of evidence or cooperation of the witness. This applies to surprise evidence and witnesses as well. So I think we should definitely do it with the evidence. Maybe the witnesses we'll do during play. We'll do like a cutaway of like how the witnesses were found. But I think for the defense attorney, Alex, do you want to describe how this mousetrap was found?
I mean, I don't know how this would work.
I think it was Jason suggested it was found like in Frida E. Claire's like locker or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like her trailer, but she's a key grip, so she doesn't have one of those. But also her locker would be like trailer size to a rat. So
That's true. That's the unknown,
Yeah,
the unexamined benefit of being a rat pretending to be a human and working human jobs is that a locker is like a trailer to you.
Yeah.
Really fixated on the fact that people haven't potentially haven't realized or something. Like that's one thing I would really like is that no one recognizes that she's a rat, and she's just
evidence, that makes this evidence even funnier because when presented, it's like, well, why would that be in Frida's locker? Like, why would someone try to kill her with a mousetrap? That doesn't make any sense. And then she's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, especially because I'm lactose intolerant.
Definitely not a rat.
I'm not a rat, number one. And number two, I don't like cheese.
I rewatched The Great Mouse Detective the other day, and I'm not a rat is just very on that.
Yeah.
Now I wish I was a rat. It's funny, yeah, to be doing the detective work as a rat too. That's also a thing for me. Can I say Virginia Ham is a rat?
It should be like a Stuart Little.
Yeah. Oh, I think that adds interesting pathos. So the Hams adopted Virginia when they thought they couldn't conceive. And then when Sam was born, she felt really neglected afterwards. Like, oh, they finally got the real human child they always wanted. I better go to law school.
This is so wildly ridiculous and accurate somehow at the same time.
Okay, so Sam Ham takes the mousetrap, finds it in Frida Eclair's locker, and she has a conversation with him about how it doesn't even make sense that it's in there because she's not a rat and she doesn't like cheese. What piece of evidence does Virginia want to take?
She's gonna take the piece of fabric that's stuck to Clem's spur from Beef's chef's coat.
Cool. How do you have an idea of how Virginia found it or came across the evidence?
I think after Clem gets picked up for the crime and is in the interrogation and they get their lawyer, I am looking through that one-way window, and I go in, and because I'm a rat now, I scurry over there and I just notice on their boots is this piece of fabric, and I'm like, aha, this really proves that they did it.
Yeah, that's good because that also establishes that it is Clem was wearing these boots. So that's cool. Clem, what are they doing? Back to Sam Ham. What's the next piece of evidence that you want to have some control over?
What's that? It's timed out. I'll do the phone.
The phone?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea for how Sam Ham gets a hold of this evidence?
I mean, so okay. I don't have any idea how he gets a hold of this.
Maybe.
I mean, would this be like the police took it?
It doesn't have to be. So it doesn't have to be Sam Ham specifically, is looking around and finding it. You could just describe a scene, from a cop TV show where it's the cold opening. Beef Wellington is dead on the floor. There's all the police tape and stuff around, and a police officer gets the I think this is maybe what you can decide now, Alex, is Was
Yeah.
the phone timed out when the police found it? Or did the police officer try over and over again to sign into this phone and make it time out for like however long?
I mean, this just occurred to me. Maybe Sam Ham saw the phone and it was like the exact same phone that he has, and thought it was his, and then tried to sign into it. Not, and it didn't work, obviously. So
Signed into it like a million times.
He's not the smartest tool in the shed.
Valid.
Very good. Yeah, so we see this scene of like this, Beef Wellington dead, this plucky upstart defense attorney kind of going over, getting there's like a bag, because usually evidence is like bagged, so maybe you're like, how did my phone get in this evidence bag? Take it out to try to sign into it, and someone comes over and takes it away from you. We're locked out of this phone now. Great. What's Virginia Ham doing while Sam Ham is destroying evidence?
I'll take the video footage, or the audio footage. Yeah, so the video is just like, I guess, an empty box or something. But the audio has the sounds of the murder occurring. And I don't know, I can't think of like a particularly fun way to get this evidence. I think it's just something the police would grab. I'll say that like while it was happening, one of the contestants was trying to like steal it so they could erase some mean things they said about another contestant or something, just to add some flavor, but it's not significant to the case.
Maybe some mean things they were saying about Beef Wellington since he's dead now.
Oh, like, yeah, that is significant to the case.
Don't want to speak ill of the dead. What's Sam Ham's next piece of evidence going to be? You've got the murder weapon, the autopsy report, the footprints, or the Beef Wellington's journal / recipe book.
I think I'll go with the footprints.
Footprints?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's really good for the defense, because like if the defendant clearly wears spurs and they're the only one that does, and then you can show that there's no spurs in the flour.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If you have anything that you want to say about when you're finding it, you can. If not, then we can go back over to see what Virginia Ham is picking.
Yeah, I think he just notices it, and it's like the stereotypical cliche, like mystery thing is like, oh, footprints, and just takes note of it.
Cool. And then that's just Virginia Ham can choose between the dough whisk, the autopsy report, or the recipe book / journal.
I'm gonna go with the recipe book / journal. I don't think it's the strongest evidence, but I think it's the one I can be the most creative with that's left here. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna say we got it. There was like a crazed fan who was trying to steal it from the crime scene, and then the police brutality'd them, and then now I have it.
I love the verb of the police brutality'd them.
It's a common enough occurrence that
it's so not funny, but it's also extremely funny.
Okay, then, Sam Ham, you can choose between the autopsy report or the Danish dough whisk for your final piece of evidence.
I'll go with the autopsy report.
Cool. Yeah, I think somebody, I don't know if this is Sam Hamm or somebody else, but like goes into the coroner's office. Maybe it's like the police officer, because we don't have a detective gumshoe type here yet. So the police officer goes in to get the evidence, the coroner's report, and the coroner keeps saying like, I can give you this report, but I haven't finished the autopsy yet. And like the police officer's just like, I need it now. We need it for like, I need to get it to my friend Sam Hamm, even though I'm a police officer and he's the defense attorney. So the coroner insists that it's not the most recent report, but does give it to you. And that just leaves the murder weapon for Virginia Hamm.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna say that it was found in the dishwasher, which made Virginia really mad, and she tried to have the PA fired, the one who ran the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Actually, I think maybe Jessica Linguini is the one who put it in the dishwasher.
Ooh, I like that. Where is Jessica Linguini on this thing? Yeah, I like Jessica Linguini, the camera person, who's just like, it was covered in red stuff. I thought it was pasta sauce. I put it in the dishwasher. I think Jessica has this whole thing where she's like, oh, I mean, Beef Wellington yelled at me one time because the camera was on a dolly and the dolly went through sauce and then it tracked sauce all over the kitchen. And so now when I see sauce, I clean it up. Cool. That's all the evidence. That leads us to, I think, the last part of the setup. Oh, no, second to last part of the setup, which is connections. So we go around the table and everyone creates 3 relationships, and you can do that on Miro. I put one on the board so you can see this little red arrow that you can kind of drag and connect it to things. So if you just want to copy and paste that one so you don't have to figure out how to make something like that, you can, or there is like a little arrow thing on the side. But we'll go around the table and everyone creates 3 relationships, 2 that tie their character to another, and then 1 that ties 2 other characters together. Similarly to there's other games that are like this where you create relationships or connections. If it involves another person, do run it by that other person first. So like if you're like, I mean, Sam and Virginia, we have a pretty obvious connection that we've already decided on, which is that they're siblings. So if one of you wants to use that as part of your connection, and you can be connected to the witnesses, the judge. You can be connected to the victim or to the defendant, any other character you can be connected to. Does anyone have ideas right off the bat? Oops. I have to remind myself of these. Can Frida E. Claire and Virginia Hamm be connected in that Virginia is the only one who recognizes that Frida is a rat?
Because I'm also a rat, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'll create that connection. Why is it doing this? Okay, there we go. Cool. And actually,
I love how this app lets you do that.
yeah, like actually connect the things. I think I'm gonna move Frida just to make this look cooler. I'm gonna move these people closer to the center so that the connections will look cooler when we're doing it.
Aesthetic is important.
Yeah.
It's the most important part of a murder investigation.
You want
honestly.
it to look like the the Pepe Sylvia meme is like kind of the goal. So I'm gonna add some text to this. Can I do that? I think. How do I do this? I think you can add text like to the line.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. It's just tiny. That's why I'm not seeing it. Wait, is it? Hang on. No. What am I doing?
Do you want me to move like their style, expertise, and job and stuff under them too?
I might just off stream put those all on one.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I do add text. Oh, here it is. Okay. Knows that Frida is a rat. Oops. Okay, there we go. I figured it out. I figured out how to put it on the line. Other people have ideas for connections between each other?
I have an idea with I think with Frida, but it would be a little bit more related to one of my tilts. Do I have to share it, or can I just create like a connection?
Is there a way you can create it that it doesn't completely give away the tilt, or does it automatically give it away?
It gives away part of it.
It's up to you. I think if it's something that is like kind of hinting toward a tilt, I think that's okay. But if you feel like it gives too much of it away and you wouldn't have as much fun, I'm assuming this is Jason that added this, but connecting Frida and Jessica Linguini.
Why are you assuming it was me?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like you have a very specific cultural touchstone you keep going back to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't you, but I think it was you. Anyway, Mila, it's up to you. If you think it would not be as much fun, it would give the tilt away too much, you can keep it secret. Although, if it involves another person, I think you should at least let that other person know.
Wait, and would that be, it would be with Frida.
So that would be me. You would let me know.
Yeah.
So you can just message me if you want to keep it a secret from everyone else. they're all connected to Frida. We gotta get we got Jessica Linguini connected to somebody. Where did I put Sage? We don't have Sage connected to anyone yet. We do already have that Sage's key is that they're Beef Wellington's boyhood chums. So I'm going to put a connection there just visually so we can see it, but I'm not going to count that as the connection. Victim. Childhood friends. Okay. Oh. Mila just messaged me their connection, and it is very good, so that's great. I'm gonna move the judge over here a little bit, though, maybe. And then I'm gonna do this. Put your piece of evidence by you.
What if Sage takes photos of animals that Jessica because Jessica knows a lot about animals. Maybe they know each other because maybe Jessica has like a farm or something, and Sage like takes like rustic looking photos there.
Yeah. We put that. Jessica and Sage. Oh, you're already doing it. Okay, so then I still have two I need to create, I The way these lines move is so fun when you're just like trying. It's like they're like. Okay. We don't have Clem connected to anyone yet. I think I'm gonna have Sage connected to Clem too, maybe, so that they're connected to the victim and the defendant. Oh, well, no, that's like kind of. What should their connection be? Sage is the host. Maybe they're related. Sage is Clem's distant cousin. Oh, no, you know what? I actually have something better. Clem was in talks to be to take over the host job from Sage. Like, maybe it's one of those things of like, oh, if like Clem did good on this show, then like we'll give them, you know, they can take over this show because they want it or whatever.
How do you add text to lines?
There, when you click on the line, there should be a little +T button, and then you click on that, and then it's really tiny. The text box, when it shows up at first, is like pretty small when I did it, so I kept missing it. But I think if you just press +T and then you start typing, it might show up, and then you just make the font size bigger.
Oops. Okay, thank you.
Oh, I see. You're you connecting Sam, Ham, and Frida.
Yeah.
Frida is the key to this whole thing.
Everyone is like, I gotta get a connection to Frida. Okay, and then I have to connect. Okay, so I connected 2 of my characters. Now I have to connect 2 other people. Can maybe Judge Justicia is a mentor to either Virginia or Sam?
I do like that one.
Say that again?
The judge is like a mentor to either Virginia or Sam.
I feel like it would be Sam, because I don't know.
It would give Virginia another reason to be resentful. It could either, if it's Virginia, it is a way to balance the scales a little bit, that Virginia doesn't only have negative like negative things toward her. But if it's Sam, then that's like an added reason for Virginia to get mad. So both are pretty good, I think.
This is a mess.
I love it.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Jason, do you have a feeling of, would you rather have a mentor or would you rather be more angry?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on how. I think it's up to Mila.
I was originally kind of thinking of like potentially like I taught a class at a university or something, so maybe like I had taught like Virginia, and I was thinking Virginia because the judge is also like, I could see the judge being really like pro getting other like women in law essentially.
Mhm.
So I could see that being something, and then also because the judge was never favorable in Phoenix right to Phoenix. So
That's
it's
true,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
prosecutor,
Also both being kind
obviously.
of straight-laced, I feel like
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. So the judge is Virginia's mentor. Okay, so I made my 3 connections because I made one between the judge and Virginia. I made one between Sage and Clem, and I made one between Virginia and Frida. How's everyone else doing on connections?
I think I have 3.
Oh yeah, Jason, do you want to I mean, there's one that you claimed was not yours. We haven't said it out loud. Do you want to explain that one?
Fine. Yeah, so Frida is a rat that bakes edibles, and Jessica Linguini is a computer slacker. So I feel like it makes sense if Jessica buys edibles off of Frida, or not necessarily buys them. In exchange for edibles, she'll let Frida control her body by pulling on her hair sometimes. And that's when Frida is like, we really got to get this shot down. It's like a tracking shot. I know you're high right now, and you probably can't do it. Just put me in your hat. Um,
But
so
also, presumably, Jessica does not realize that Frida is a rat. So Jessica,
he's just like, why is this
you're
lady
just
going into my hat?
tiny lady climbs into my hat.
Yeah.
And then what were your other 2?
Um, the one is just adopted siblings
Oh
with
yeah.
Sam, and then the other one is knowing that Frida is a rat. But I think maybe we can have grown up in the same orphanage, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. So then I need to come up with another one because we each get 3. So right
Oh,
now you and I
well,
are sharing one. So I should make another one, I think. So there should be
you want to
12
use yours for
connections
that one? I
total, I
can
think.
try and think of another one,
Uh
unless you have something.
well, I did put childhood friends between Sage and we don't have what do we not have connections between? The only reason I think it could be good to have another one is if there's anyone who's not that connected, but a lot of us are pretty connected.
Yeah, what's the connection between Sam and Jessica?
I was just thinking. I'm not sure. I was thinking that they maybe dated at one point.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Maybe.
that's a good one.
That's a good couple too.
Spicy.
They're both like pretty laid back, it seems like.
Maybe do you think they're still dating or do you think they're exes?
I think they're exes. Yeah.
Okay.
What if because they're both so lazy, they never put a label on it and they're still like in that?
Like they don't know. Neither of them
Yeah.
know.
It's been like 4 years, but they still don't like they haven't
Don't
met
really
each
even
other's
talk
parents.
anymore, but
Yeah.
Okay, then I have an idea for another for my technically third connection if Jason is up for it. What if Jessica and Virginia are also currently dating, but there's like a specific label on it?
So
But
yeah.
neither Sam nor Virginia knows
Yeah.
that that's
And Jessica
going on.
doesn't know that we're siblings. She just never put it together. It's super obvious, but
Well, it's not that obvious because one of you is a rat and one of
a
you
different
is a human.
species.
Yeah, so it could be more obvious, I'll say. Okay, so I'll add this one to Virginia and wow, why this is going has some anchor points that I don't completely understand. What is happening with this line? Maybe because I'm just copying and pasting them. Are currently dating. There we go. These lines are so curly.
In the chat, see what's going on the
yes,
screen right now?
yeah, I have,
Yeah.
I have on my view of the mirror is also what chat can see.
It's very much a mess. It's great. Beautiful.
Cool. Okay, so I have 3 connections. Jason has made 3 connections. Alex, have you made 3 connections?
If the connection between Virginia and Sam counts as one, yeah.
I think you need
I got Frida.
one...
That counts as one of mine. So
yeah, it counts
you
as
get
one of Jason's. So I think you still need one more. You need to connect... So it's 2 between yourself and another character, and 1 that's just between 2 other characters. That you're not controlling.
Right.
So you've got 1... Well, who did... I'm assuming this is Sam plays an MMORPG with Frida.
Yeah.
So, Alex, you made that one.
Yeah.
And you made the one that you and Jessica are kind of dating. So you need to make
Correct.
one more that connects 2 characters that you don't control. And then, Mila, you have one between the judge and Frida. And I think you need one more for the judge. Between the judge and someone else, because the mentor one was my connection between 2 people that I'm not.
Coolio. That is perfect because I have... I'm going to do this one.
Could we have a link between like Sam and the host? Like not I don't know. Is that something that would be like?
I think that's good
Beef?
because we don't have a lot of connections between us and
the host. Yeah, the host is just connected to Clem and to
the judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
no,
wait, no, not even.
Beef Wellington.
Yeah.
Oh, the Beef is her favorite celebrity chef. That's such a good one for the judge. Oh my god.
That works well with the tilt I gave you too.
It does, yeah. I was really inspired by the tilts when I did this. Everything is relevant.
Hell yeah.
Cool. And then Alex, you wanted to have one between Sage
somebody and the victim. I don't know who yet.
If you wanted it to be between Sage and someone that you control, it would be between Sage, Virginia, Sage and the judge, and Sage and Sam Ham.
I think it'd be funny if Sam was kind of dating every single woman in the game.
Dang.
That would be
not his sister.
not his sister.
Well, they're step siblings. That's like a whole thing now. It's like a whole genre.
I think they're like 100% siblings. They're just not genetically
they're
related.
Adopted siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They decided they're not step siblings. They're adopted siblings.
You could be an adopted step sibling.
That's true. That's true.
Possible.
Sam would be dating the judge and Frida and Jessica. I think if we did that,
I would say for the judge, I don't think the judge is
would be dating.
interested in dating. Well, I don't think the judge would be dating anyone. And if she was, I think she would have a more lesbian tilt to her. But
that's someone sent you the tilt, just that the judge is...
I I didn't even mean it that way, but that would be a great tilt.
Okay, so we have. Wait, do we even need one between Sam and Sage? Because Sam, you have 1, 2. I think you already have the amount that you're supposed to have connecting.
Yeah, I've got
How many?
1 to Frida, 1 to Jessica, and then there's the adopted sibling one. But you said that I would
one that
have
doesn't
to make one
involve
between
you, though. The third one is
one that
supposed
doesn't
to
involve
not
me.
be
Okay.
between your character and another character. The third one's supposed to be between 2 characters that you're not playing.
Okay, I
So-
lost track. Okay, there we go.
You also did have that you had previously dated Beef Wellington, which I don't know if that's who you meant to connect it to.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. I like the idea that maybe I like the idea that maybe Sam is very like not like ever looking to be in a relationship, but like people are like seeking him out to be in a relationship. And he's just kind of like, okay, sure, whatever.
I do like that. Okay, let me think. Oh yeah, there we go. So you just need to connect 2 people that you're not playing, I think is the last thing we need. I think we have enough. We should have 13 by the end, 13 connections, because I put childhood friends, even though that was an expertise or a key or something, but I just put it as a line because I thought it would be fun. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are impossible to count.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find one that's like that would be interesting, but there's so many to keep track of.
Well,
right here.
technically we don't have a connection between the victim and the defendant, so
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
that would be a good one to add.
They were also in a relationship.
It's literally what I just put. I'm not. Whoa. Spelled that right.
I was thinking that too. Anyway, I was gonna have it be a whole reveal.
I love that we're all on the same page.
It can still
for
be
they
a
are
reveal.
dating.
So all these relationships are not necessarily known to all of the characters. So these definitely can be relationships that are revealed during the trial. Cool. And then the good thing is, if we did the connections right, if anybody wants to move their tag to a different place for some reason, they should be able to, and it'll keep all the connections. Okay. The last thing we need to do is each player should come up with a single question they have about this case and mystery, and during play you should aim to answer these. These questions should not be like, did this person do it? Or, something like that. Like, did this person do it? How did the specific character do the crime? Good questions call to specific aspects of your particular case and ask that they be explored further. These can be as big as, how does this piece of evidence factor in? Or as small as, what's the secret ingredient in the pies? So these should be questions that are kind of, either directly related to the case or just interesting avenues that would be fun to explore during the case. I'll also the book gives some examples of good and bad questions. So some of the bad questions are, how did the judge kill them? Or did the suspect actually do it? Which are essentially just like too on the nose or established facts about the case. So they should be more open-ended. So it shouldn't be something like, it's like that the classic example of like asking someone like, oh, when did you stop doing drugs? Which like the question implies that the person has been doing drugs. So you want to avoid things like that and more just open-ended things. And I think if we want to put them on the board, we can. But I don't know if they have to be on the board. I think I might put mine on just so I remember it. That's the main the main thing. But yeah, we can be thinking about these questions. I'm going to zoom out of the board to see if I can come up with a good idea.
So the questions, can you reiterate real quick?
Yeah. So the questions are basically, they're more for like your character motivation is something additionally to solving the case, or things that could be explored more during the game. So, just a single question that you have about the case and mystery, and during play you should aim to answer these. So let me give, I just realized I only gave examples of bad questions and I didn't give examples of good questions. So let me give the good examples. Good examples of questions. What does the Baron gain out of Oz's death? So it's a good question because it asks why a side character may gain something and adds more to play with. So it could be like maybe something that's like more motivation, like, you know, something with the murder case. What reasons are there for the victim's murder? Notes the why of the crime is something specific you want to explore. And then the third good example is, where did the witness learn to juggle so well? Asks for a character to be fleshed out a little bit more.
Okay.
I think mine, because I'm just really hung up on this uncharismatic host thing, and it's a question I have for real life, is how did Sage get this job?
I was going to do that too.
Oh,
I was going to do how did these...
You can do a different, or you can do that one and
That's
I can
okay.
think of something else.
Mine was going to just be more generalized, like how did these crew members get their jobs? Because all of them, one's a rat and the other two probably shouldn't have the job.
Yeah, go ahead and keep that as your question, then I'll think of a different one.
I don't know if this is a good question, but I put who has a background in pastry baking or cooking, baking, pastry making, baking. Okay,
baking.
Like it sounded weird, but because so far no one seems to have that we've come up with, but it was the murder weapon was a very specific. Go with.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Frida has a specific baking expertise, but maybe not.
Oh,
is,
yeah.
But that is a good question. Like, even if you know at least an answer to it, like, because then we can play towards that if the defense wants to pin it on Frida or something.
Like who else does, or like who all does. Okay, what's my question then?
I can try and think of another one too.
No, I'll think of another one because I like that yours is more broad. I'm just looking at connections. Maybe mine will be why doesn't anyone notice that Frida is a rat?
I know we're supposed to explore it in game, but I think it's just because she has a chef's hat on at all times, and if she took it off, everyone would know.
It's like in the Muppet movie where like Fozzie and Kermit are like twins, and they're always like, well, if Fozzie takes his hat off, then you'll see the resemblance, and you'll realize. Oh, I like Alex's. Alex, do you want to read yours?
Why is the beef so mean?
It's really good.
It's a good one. Yeah.
We delve into the beef's childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do. Someone is childhood friends with him, so actually.
Yeah.
Not impossible. That's everything for our setup, I believe. So that is, I guess it's time to wrap up the stream, unless anyone has other last minute things that they want to do or say to change anything about what we've decided so far. We also, I mean, we're actually playing the trial on Saturday, so if between now and Saturday you want to change anything, that's totally cool. We can message about it. But if nobody has any last things that they want to do, we can get ready to sign off. So this would be a good time to plug other things that you have going on. This time we'll start with Alex. If you want to reintroduce yourself to anybody who's just coming in at the end of the stream, what else do you have going on?
Hi, I'm Alex. Like I said in the beginning, I'm a musician. I have a website. What I do is I make songs for, like if you've got a podcast, I can make an intro song. If you've got, like a D&D one shot or, tabletop one shot, like you need a theme for that. Yeah, and if I got the website link. Taylor, do you want to post that, or I can?
I did put it in chat. It's comfortnoisemusic.com.
Yeah, there's a form that you can fill out that will be sent to me, and yeah, just if you need anything like that, I can do it.
Yeah, and you can also follow Alex on TikTok, and if you want to see some of the music, he posts it there, and it's very good. Jason, what about you? Do you have stuff that you want to plug? Oh, sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was gonna say, and there's also songs on the website. If you go, there's a page, the music on the website. You can listen to some of the more polished things I've done for other people. So that's it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website now, and I'm going to be honest, when I pitched Western as one of my palette words, it's because I just saw you have a song called Cowboy, and I was really struggling to come up with words, so I stole it from your website.
I do like that we eliminated some things from the palette, but then we still just used them anyway. So
they're all back.
They're all there. They all made it in. Jason, what else do you have going on?
Yeah, so again, you can follow me on Twitter. I write stuff sometimes, and I edit for a small indie publisher called Malarkey Books. We're going to announce a project I'm reading submissions for and editing probably in May, so you can follow there if you want. And my Twitter is @WarlockTrash, and Malarkey Books, I think, is @Malarkey Books. And then the other thing I'm plugging is this film, Everything Everywhere All at Once by the Daniels, starring Michelle Yeoh. It's very good. It's like a small indie thing that's a family drama, comedy, action film. So you should check it out.
Yeah, I really want to see it. The visuals of it look incredible. Very cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've been specifically not watching, like I'll get an ad for it and I won't watch it, specifically because of stuff that you've said about it and wanting to go into it completely blind.
Yeah, don't watch the trailer or read about it. Just trust me.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
I've only seen like the very short trailer that's just like literally just like a bunch of visuals. And so I'm like, okay, that looks very cool. I haven't seen anything else.
I'm fully just like, no.
Scroll.
Not even that one. It'll come up and I'll block it.
What else do you have going on?
Yes. I am streaming on Twitch. There we go. That's the word. So you can find me over at Troll Mila. I'm currently wrapping up my Kingdom Hearts entire playthrough that I've been doing for a weirdly long amount of time. And I'm kind of sad about it, but we're moving on to different things. And I'm going to be doing a roundup where I try to explain what happened in all the games. I've been avoiding podcasts, YouTube videos, everything about it, so I can just go into it with my own ideas, which I'm very excited about. You can also find me on Twitter at troll_Mila. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed us playing this game, first of all, it's currently funding on Kickstarter. So let me put a link to that. And you should totally back it. If you back it and you tweet a screenshot of the backing to me, you'll have an in-stream reward. I'll have to figure out what that's going to be for the trial as opposed to for the setup. It's a little easier for the setup. So that's the first thing. And also, we're going to be back on Saturday at the same time playing the trial portion of this game. So we did the setup. You can see this big web of sticky notes in front of you right now. We're going to be using all of this, and we're going to be playing these characters. And I'm very excited for that. So that's going to be this coming Saturday, which is the 9th. And that's going to be 6:30, starting at 6:30 Eastern. I'm probably going till around 10 or so. So that's what we've got coming up. And then also, if you enjoy Mila, they're going to be back on this stream on the 30th of this month, which is a Saturday, playing the game my friend Tay wrote called OK Cryptid. We hit a goal during that, and so we're doing a stream where the cryptid will be Piss Boy.
Yes, I am so excited for the Piss Boy stream.
All that's been established. We wanted to do it for the previous OK Cryptid stream, and Take said no. And so he said,
Fair.
if we get a certain number of tips, we're gonna do it without you. So it's gonna be me, Melanie, Mila, who were in the first OK Cryptid stream, and then also our friend Sierra, who was in chat earlier, is gonna be in that one too. And then tomorrow I'm going to be playing Minecraft, and then also I hit a subscriber goal, and so I'm going to be reading old journal entries from when I was like 12 to 14, and they're incredibly embarrassing. I took out some that were too embarrassing. I didn't choose to read those, but even the ones that I picked are still pretty bad. So those are some things we have coming up. I am going to leave this Zoom call, if the three of you want to hang on for just a second, so I can wrap up with stream. But for now, do you want to say goodbye to chat and goodbye to YouTube as well for whenever this is a VOD?
Bye, chat.
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.
Goodbye.
Yeah.